Hey, welcome to the January 12th Budget Finance meeting. Agenda's pretty light tonight. It's really just to review the budget developmental schedule and make sure that we've got no conflicts there, and make sure everybody knows kind of what the schedule is, what's going to take place on those nights. First order of business would be to accept the minutes from the November 3rd meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
In discussion on that, there was an email from Don correcting what the information he had given on the
Sick days.
sick days and whatnot, and I've asked to have that email attached to the minutes that go on into the record, so just so everybody knows where we are on that. All those in favor? Opposed? We've got a number of new people on the committee. We wanted to kind of go through the schedule there. Just, it looks like there's a lot of things there, but all those are not meeting night items. The only meeting nights as of right now is February 23rd, March 2nd, March 24th, and April 13th. The other items on there are either action items as far as submittals that the town manager has requested from the department heads coming to him, or his sending information out to us. But just so you don't think that we have to meet all those on all those various nights. From the list there, were there any evenings that were going to be a conflict with anybody? Just do make note that the March 2nd and the March 24th, one of those is a Monday night, the other is a Tuesday night. So,
Fine.
so if there's no conflicts on that, then we'll let them know to run with those, and we should be set.
I noticed on the schedule that the town meeting is set for a Wednesday night, which
Correct.
is unusual. Is that,
No, that's what it's been that way for the last
I thought it was on
3 years.
Tuesdays.
I think there was a change to that night.
Okay.
I think they brought that up in a selectmen's meeting and made that change.
Okay. But the Wednesday is a confirmed date for
Yes.
town meeting, okay.
And I think that was just so they wouldn't encroach on their selectmen's meeting night.
I see on this schedule that a couple of the meetings are at 7 o'clock, some are at 6:30. I guess the 7 o'clock one would be the March 24th meeting.
Right.
Is that workshop chaired by the select board, or is it going to be a shared? I know there's been conversations in the past, and who would basically chair those meetings, either with the department heads or the workshop following.
Well, the 2nd and the 24th will be chaired by the budget committee. The 24th is a workshop, so it's really to kind of get the two groups together to look at where ideas would be on where they want to go. And then the select board will be meeting separately to make their recommendations, and we meet separately to make our recommendations based on theirs. So that will be more of a joint meeting. I'll have to get with Mike to see who's actually going to chair that one, but that's more of a meeting to say, okay, we've gotten inputs, and the select board had some design goals originally of moving in this direction, and based on the inputs, where we see common areas where we may want to move. But no final decisions will come out of that meeting. Any final votes will be at the individual meetings.
The workshops, do those have minutes just like regular meetings? Like, is somebody taking, will there be minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, after just like.
And there will be minutes of tonight's meetings too, but Sue is
Right.
out sick, so she's going to do that from off the tape.
Well, I just wasn't sure what the difference between a meeting and a workshop was. I didn't know if that was, if that was anything significant, but I guess not, so don't worry about it.
Typically, in a workshop, there's no votes taken. It's a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit, it's a little bit less formal than in a, you don't have a formal set agenda,
Mhm.
but there's no official actions taken in a workshop.
Okay.
And the other two meetings prior to the workshop, we have the opportunity to ask questions of the budget, excuse me, the department heads in terms of their submittal, budget submittal.
I see. Okay.
And the reason it's on 2 nights was, we went to that approach last year to try and keep the length of the meetings
Mhm.
down to a little bit more consolidated. So, I've just gotta confirm with the select board if we're gonna go with the same breakout as we went last year as far as which groups present which night. But it also helps as far as the groups that are presenting. If you've got someone that's near the tail end that didn't have to sit there through 2 hours of other stuff. So, and, you know, just for people, you know, to help people understand the joint nature of those, it was really to make better use of the time of the people presenting the budgets instead of having to present once to the budget committee and then once to the select board.
Sure.
Have everybody together so everybody gets the same information at the same time, so that we're kind of all dealing from the same information that way.
Okay.
Prior to those meetings, again, if there's any inputs that people want or any questions that they have, get those to me. I'll get those to Don or Nancy or whoever's appropriate on there, so we can get the answers back, and then as soon as I get those, we'll pass those through to the whole group, so everyone's got the same information. There's no other questions on that. I think, Marshall, you had a couple questions on the
I
appropriations
do,
report.
on the December 31st appropriations report, there's 2 items that kind of stuck out. One is dispatch services. The budget was 31.7 and we've already spent 27 of it. And I thought that the dispatch services were paid on a monthly basis, or is it a per call basis? And I realize that nobody's here to answer that question, and I'll follow up, but it didn't make sense to me to have dispatch services so far over budget for the first 6 months.
I'll get that question to Don.
I'll email you later.
I'll get that so we can get an answer, but, dispatch, you know, you got,
Cumberland County
well,
Dispatch.
I'm not, you know, there's a difference between dispatch and the rescue calls.
Dispatch services, okay. And again, I thought that was a
Yeah.
1 month, 1 year divided by 12, that's it. It goes out monthly, but it doesn't appear to be handling itself that way. So again, I'll follow that with an email. The other one is miscellaneous income on the revenue control report. We've already gotten 75,000 year-to-date receipts in that, and there was a budget of about half of that. And my question is, shouldn't we consider dividing that money out into additional cost centers so that it can be closerly defined? And again, I'll follow
Yeah.
that with an email too, but that seemed like an awful lot of money to just put under miscellaneous.
Yeah, some of the, you know,
I know
we'll get an answer
Yep.
from Nancy on that,
Yep.
for sure, but, I'm just wondering if some of that was, you know, money that came in against like the tower and things like that, and then was just,
It might be, but it
Project
just,
Canopy.
yeah, the number stuck way out.
There was a lumber sale.
Yep. Now, lumber sale, I think, is carried separately, I think. You might be right, Bob. Anyway, those are my 2 questions, and that's it,
Okay.
so
we'll get those passed
Yep.
along, and then I'll send out the answers to
I'll follow you. up.
everybody. Other
Thank you.
things that jumped out?
Nope.
Anything under old business?
Nope.
New business.
Yeah, it's, correct me if I'm misled, but it's my impression that when we meet with the department heads, they're not here to give the state of the department type of speech and this is what we were able to do, this is what our goals are in this upcoming fiscal year. They're here to ask, for us to ask them questions on different areas of their budget.
Correct. I mean, they certainly, you know, and some like the library and whatnot, typically have said, you know, here's what our plans are for the year and whatnot, as far as explaining why they may be asking for certain monies and things like that. But essentially, it's our chance to look at what they had on their request line versus what it, you know, what it is, what they're, you know, what they're planning to do, what it, you know, if, you know, like for example with the library, you know, what are they doing for outside other fundraisers and things like that, so that we can then come back when we do our deliberations and have that information that says, okay, here's, did that make sense or not make sense? Or more importantly, if there's, you know, if there's information that's not there that we're looking for, to ask for that, to get that input so that we can have everything we need in order to be able to make some kind of a decision.
I would think also that we would be interested in any major swings in budgets, and I think I see one coming in technology. I may or may not, but I think we would want somebody to give a little detailed explanation on something like that.
I did see that opportunity at the select board meeting.
I did see that, yeah.
Where the, you know, where we are, where we would like to go, and how, you know, what it's going to take to get there, and that's a lot of good information in terms of, you know, an increased budget submission. I just hope that all of the other departments have that similar opportunity to talk about their struggles and where they need to go and how they plan on getting there.
I mean, it certainly would. It certainly helps in the, you know, looking out at the, you know, 2 and 3 years out and things like that. Because if we've got something major that's coming up down the road, the sooner we know about it, the better.
Right.
So that we can look at how do we, you know, how do we address that? Is it, you know, do we accrue some ahead? Do we take it all at one chunk? Do we, you know, how do we do that? So, because we've done that in the past in various areas. Be it either goes into the capital fund, or is it, you know, something that's ripe for some other financing mechanism down the road or whatever. So,
Like
bonding could be looking for grants, could be looking for, you know, could be a number of different things that may exist out there. Other questions? All right, then February 23rd at 6:30. Prior to that meeting, I'll shoot out we'll shoot out a memo that shows which departments will be presenting that night, so that you know, and if that
that'd be good.
if that gives any input as far as information you're going to want prior to that, then we can get that ahead of time too.
So is it gonna be obvious when you send that out, like what departments, when we look at like this, is it gonna be obvious what departments would be
Yeah.
for that schedule? You know what I mean? Like if I
Right.
wanted to
It'll be,
ask.
for example, you know, one night would be Public Works, another night a different night would be the fire department, you know, and then.
Okay, so it'll
Yeah,
be
we can-
obvious what departments match up to
Oh, yeah.
what our questions will be. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, good.
But, you know, we try and take the ones that are, you know, the bigger ones, the biggest dollar ones, and have those on alternate nights, so that,
Mhm.
because those typically are generating the most questions and whatnot, so that we, you know, we're trying to keep the timing down so that people aren't here.
Okay.
People didn't want to stay here till midnight, I don't know.
Done that once. I
I think, Abby, what you're asking is that a few weeks ahead of time, you will get the budget
Okay,
on email, and you will have a chance to look at it.
right, that's what yeah.
Yeah,
for
February
which departments.
13th, Don will send us, and he emails that. You know, you can get a hard copy at the town hall. but
Right,
He'll
right,
He'll
yeah, we
email a
talked about that,
copy
yeah.
of that. draft document.
Okay.
So you'll have about 10 days to look at it prior to that meeting, but. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
All in favor?
Okay, thank you.